Hey, everybody. Kurt Schlichter back in the mix. Author, columnist, thinker, conservative commentator, veteran, lawyer. He's got a lot of titles, including the title of his new book, American Apocalypse, which is available for pre-order right now. So get those pre-orders going. It's a fiction book. We'll talk about the book in a second. Let's first talk about this, Mr. Kurt. So we got people. You're a lawyer, so that comes in handy here. People are pleading the fifth when asked about Biden's mental state and the possibility of conspiracy to keep that from the American people. What do you make of it?
Well, I know why they're doing it, and they may be allowed to do it if there's a crime involved, and there may be a crime. The Fifth Amendment applies to when we use it, it's often to avoid being railroaded. When they use it, it's often to avoid accountability, which it does. This doctor also invented a physician-patient privilege that doesn't exist under federal law, so that's out. But there's an easy way to get the doctor's testimony, which is to pardon the doctor for any alleged crimes that might be associated with his treatment or care of Joe Biden.
What do you think the crimes? Do you have any sense of what the crime could be?
I don't. One of the problems which the left has created is creative use of statutes to turn things that normal people wouldn't see as crimes into crimes, which makes which gives people a lot of leeway when they're asserting potential self-incrimination. So, he's like, well, I'm not exactly sure what they charge me for because it would all be nonsense, but they might charge me. So anything I say could tend to incriminate me. So I'm not going to say anything. And I think he has a good chance of getting away with that.
I was going to say, if you were his attorney, so if you were the consul,
he'd be doing that's what he'd be doing. He'd be taking the fifth.
Totally right. I mean, this is
absolutely.
Yeah. There's no upside,
Absolutely.
especially.
If I was his attorney,
right? Yeah, of course, because there's no upside in talking about any of this. And people say, "Oh, what about the reputational damage?" We all know they knew Biden had dementia. Like, there's nothing. There's not going to be some. Oh my gosh, you mean you guys were dishonest about the Biden dementia situation in the White House? Like, no, we know. We already know.
Yeah. The SS Reputation has pulled out of port and set sail. Let's put it that way. I mean, we all know what this guy did. We all knew what he was covering up. They'd like to get him on the record about it. And if they want to be sneaky, they can, get Trump to issue a pardon for anything he did involving the Joe Biden, his care, treatment, or administration. And then you've got a then you have a Fifth Amendment problem. So we'll see what happens.
Now, something else I want to ask you about. I'm seeing what I don't want to do is get into a 20 years of Epstein conspiracy conversation. Like, this is everywhere now. I know. So we're going to skip past there's all the stuff and there's all the theories and there's all this. Already covered this on the show. The comments I can pre-see them in my mind. They're just like, he's paid off. I've talked about this I've been talking about this much longer than a lot of other people. I was the one who told everybody on the Sean Ryan show, which obviously blew up everywhere because it's a freaking huge show, about the 2019 raid. The FBI is like, oh, we have the tapes. We're going to leave the tapes and we're going to leave the house and the tapes are gone and we come back. I told people this. They didn't even believe. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into this now. What I do want to ask, though, is I'm seeing that there's like the online chirping. I don't know if it's real about a special counsel. And to me, I just look at this and I go, that's a terrible idea.
It's an awful idea. Let's let this thing die out. Look, here's the thing. We're all like, well, we want the truth about Epstein. Okay, how would you get that? Well, I would send people I absolutely trust in to review everything, because obviously everything can't come out because innocent people might be involved. They're innocent victims. You can't, display child gross tapes.
Yeah, of course.
That sort of thing. We send people who are absolutely trustworthy in to see what there is, and then they come and report to us. And we did that. And, Dan Bongino et al. Comes out and says, okay, I've looked at it and I was wrong. There was nothing there. And people were like, Well, they've turned Dan Bongino. Okay, you're not going to turn Dan Bongino. Sometimes you've got to take yes for an answer. Is there more there? I've looked for it. I can't find it. Maybe it was there and now it's gone. Maybe there were other shenanigans.
This is my thing about the JFK files, which I know it's different, but it's also gotten, which is there's nothing you can release from the JFK files that will make the people who believe there's more in the JFK files believe that they've gotten all the JFK files. There's no such thing.
Exactly. And again, I'm not criticizing people who are suspicious or upset or annoyed.
This whole thing has been handled
lied to and abused.
People have been lied to. This whole thing's been handled horribly. There were clearly, at some level, you're like, okay, so if the DOJ wasn't being pushed by like the cabal or some foreign intelligence service or whatever, it's really this incompetent that they could let Epstein get away with this as long as they did. I mean, that's horrifying on its
horrifying
own.
in a whole different way.
Right, horrifying.
Look, I just asked myself, do you think Dan Bongino is going to go in there and lie to cover up to protect Epstein? I think that is less likely, more likely not true than true. Do you think that Epstein is going to sit down and have a notarized list of, in his own handwriting of all the people and their various perversions? I think he probably hasn't. Do you think that if Donald Trump's name was on any of that stuff, it wouldn't have been on the front page of the New York Times in probably 2016? No, I'm still a lawyer, technically. I have to go where the evidence takes me, and the evidence says this is a very bad guy who did a lot of very bad things, but the idea that he was some sort of Ernst Stavros Blofeld of child molesting, we had this giant network of connected people. I don't see the evidence of it. I'm not against seeing the evidence. If it was there, I'd accept it.
The other thing that I brought up,
disappointed.
I was just trying to talk about the special counsel idea, but here we are talking about we're going down the Epstein rabbit hole. But
there we are down the rabbit hole.
That when someone has done something that would be very high profile and or rather involving very high profile, very powerful people a long time ago, that would rely on very, very clear evidence. So the thing about this as well is the kind of crimes that people are talking about here. If you bring that charge against somebody, even their life is probably ruined, whether they're, and they could be innocent, right? I mean, like you're done. Yeah. So you got to be damn sure about it. A lot of that evidence may have long since been destroyed, discarded, all of the above. And I don't think that that's somebody being naive or anything else. Like if that stuff was out there and people say things like there's a foreign intelligence service or that this was somehow, a deep state cabal, whatever it is, they're not going to leave that stuff around. They would know where it is, and they would have cleaned this up a long time ago. So I think that that's a fair point to make in all this, that what Dan and Cash and Bondi have access to now very well may not be, for a variety of reasons, the totality of what existed. So anyway, but see, we're getting a special counsel. I just put this out to you. I also it's a terrible idea, and it's because you do a special counsel when you can't trust your own DOJ because of a conflict of interest to do the investigating. And so that would be the Trump administration saying, I can't trust my DOJ. We have a conflict of interest, therefore, right? It's a horrible idea. Do I have to call these influencers on the phone who are friends of my influencers, whatever we call them, like the yous and the me's out there, like the guys like us who are talking about this stuff in public, and say, guys, special counsel, horrible idea. Stop talking about this.
It's a terrible idea, and I think this is a combination of disappointment, well-earned distrust, revulsion at the subject, and just a general understanding that we've been abused so much in the past and lied to so thoroughly and so often that there's simply no defaulting to trust. And that's a real problem. The answer is to be trustworthy, but once you've lost trust, it takes a long time to earn it back.
We're going to talk about your book in a second. Sponsor here's Paradigm Press. There's something under American soil that has value in it that's assessed in the trillions of dollars. This endowment is so large it could pay off our national debt 4 times over. And now, thanks to a Supreme Court decision, the Trump administration could soon release it to the public. Jim Rickards, a former advisor to the White House and Federal Reserve, says if you're over 50, this could be your best chance to build lasting wealth from a once-in-a-century event. That's a big statement. To hear more, though, of why Jim is saying this, go check it out for free at birthright2025.com. If Jim's right, it could make President Trump the most popular president in history and help millions of investors retire wealthy. Go to birthright2025.com to get the details free of charge. Birthright2025.com, paid for by Paradigm Press. All right, so the book American Apocalypse doesn't sound like it's a children's tale, so we got to keep it. It's not for the kids. That sounds a little sad, little tough. Tell me about it though. What's going on?
Well, American Apocalypse, the Second American Civil War, is a book I wrote because I'm worried. We have a status quo right now where half of America, the left half, doesn't believe that the right half has any legitimacy to govern, even when it wins full and fair elections for the presidency, for Congress. Buck, it's not that they just disagree with us. It's that they think we're actively evil. When you're saying Trump is literally Hitler, and they are literally saying Trump is literally Hitler, where do you go from that? It kind of implies that the normal rules don't apply, and the normal rules haven't applied. The norms, the guidelines, they're all gone. And we're to the point where we can't rely on political procedures and the law the way we used to be able to. We used to be able to go into court and basically think, well, if we're right, even if the judge doesn't agree with us, we're going to be able to enforce the laws. That's not happening. And when you have a society that isn't run by laws and isn't run by political procedures, what's left to run it? Force. And we are seeing force used by them. Force against ICE agents. We're seeing Palestinians murder people. They just murdered a couple people this weekend. We're seeing more and more violence, more and more threats. We had a low-grade insurgency in the 60s and 70s with the Weather Underground and the Symbionese Liberation Army, with the LAPD knew how to take care of. Unfortunately, the FBI didn't. Bill Ayers is still a prominent member of academia instead of rotting in Florence, Colorado's Supermax. But could it be worse? And this book is the worst case scenario. This shows how a combination of arrogance, corruption, stupidity, and a failure to honor norms and rules could spin completely out of control into a real nightmare. And this novel is about that nightmare.
Go get your copy or get at least your pre-order in for your copy at Amazon and wherever books are sold.
Well, Amazon is where you go to get it. And I got to tell you, and again, it's not a complete death march. There are some trademark Schlichter amusing moments. I think there may be a Buck Sexton. There may be a Buck Sexton cameo in there.
That'd be fantastic. I mean, you need a former CIA analyst with a great head of hair and a cynical attitude about life in whatever your novel may be.
And who also has the greatest porno name I've ever heard. But it's a burden you live with. But, I didn't write this to be miserable, and I didn't write it as nonfiction. I wrote it as fiction because I wanted to tell stories of regular folks that we can identify with, so we can see why it's so important that we get back to the Constitution rather than kind of solving our problems by beating each other over the head. And if it ever got to that, it would be horrifying. And there's it's a tough book. Like The Attack was a tough book, my previous one about a terrorist incident. This is a tough book. And there are some lighter moments, but if you come out of this going, oh boy, it'd be great to take that other side and just beat the hell out of them, and then everything will be great. No.
All righty. Go get your copy on Amazon. Kurt Schlichter, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
If you want to donate to a worthy cause, look no further than Preborn. You'd be amazed at what $28 can do when you donate it to support their mission. Put that money aside to make a donation to Preborn. Their network of clinics are saving babies in the womb nationwide. Preborn has their clinics in communities where abortion rates are the highest so that they can meet and welcome pregnant women deciding between life or abortion for their child. That ultrasound experience that Preborn offers for free is so critical in making that emotional connection and helping that mom see the path toward life. In 20 years, they've saved 300,000 plus babies in this way. Please consider a $28 donation to Preborn. That is the cost of an ultrasound, and it's a dollar figure that you could just set up to recur on donation each month. Just go to preborn.com/buck. That's preborn.com/BUCK, or dial pound 250 from your phone. Dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. Sponsored by Preborn.